got a quote that says,
Oh Lord.
racism's
Your
been
research, baby. You did your research.
I have to. I have to. You know what I mean? Racism's been earning billions of dollars. Don't ask us to solve racism. Those are two separate quotes, but in the same line of in the same train of thought.
Yeah. I mean, we built this nation,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
We're hundreds of years behind from legacy, from wealth building
Right.
that was built on our ancestors for free for them at a cost to us. For we're still suffering that cost, right? And so, literally oppression, racism, classism,
Right.
trillions of dollars.
Mm.
It's what it is. And look at the resilience that here we still stand breaking barriers. I feel good about the consciousness of the millennials, the consciousness of the Gen Zers. I've always been a conscious capital type of girl. Now that I have the maturity and the wisdom to be able to verbalize it, it feels good. And I also like to hold people who don't look like us accountable.
Right.
I'm glad I'm at the stage in life that I'm on the other end, and I can say to them, well, what does your team look like? How many women do you have? How many Black people do you have? How many people of color do you have? If that's stuff that we have that power now to ask those questions, because inclusion is the right thing.
You you said you like being the first, right? You're the first college graduate and so on and so forth. And now you have the power. Do you enjoy that as much as well? Like knowing that your signature changes lives?
Well, I don't believe I change lives. I believe that God uses us,
Sure.
to so I will never sit with that type of confusion in my life. But what I do like is that I have a value system that I do believe
Mhm.
is putting human kindness first, community first, consciousness first. And you can't go wrong when you're operating in love in that way. So to me, if that's the power, yeah, I'll take that every day.
Reparations. What does that look like?
They they can't afford it.
You're absolutely right. They can't afford it, man. That's that's true. So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You know, when I went to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I walked
Mm.
and cried on
Can
Black
you
Wall
imagine
Street.
that shit?
Hmm.
I said, can you imagine that?
What,
Sheesh.
let me tell you, when I walked that street, and I was so present, and you could just feel the energy there. And I kept walking, and I came across this monument at the end, and I was like, "What is that?" And it was all these names. And so I started looking at it. It was all of the businesses of our ancestors that had paid in full
Mhm.
to be productive business people, their insurance policies. When I added up that total of paid in full, what they should have received back, I believe it was at like almost $4 million or something. Do you understand what that would be today? Let's just start there. Let's see if we can get that back to those families.
Right. And the expansion of that, like, the compound interest on that $4 million in terms of capital and land,
And what
and
was so beautiful to me is that so many of those businesses were owned by women.
mm,
So when we talk about equality and partnership with us as Black men and Black women, they exemplified the example. That's why it was so dangerous, because the beauty of Black men being kings and Black women being queens together in a community was scary to them.
right, right. It's funny because as a child, you listen to the Gap Band growing up, and then as I got older, you realize what the acronym stands for, and you're like, damn, it's funny how my growth has to be self-taught. You know, it's like they give us the bare minimum in schools. You know, I saw you post Malcolm X and his quote, but like my learning and my like my application, I don't think I learned application in college and grad school, but in life, the gift of application, the wisdom of application is seems so powerful. And as I journey through your Instagram posts, I see a lot of application. And where did that come from? Was it mom? Was it projects? Was it college? Was it USA Today and being getting the top spot? Where?
I honestly, I think I'm still a work in progress. So I think that I'm learning it every day. I think it started at home. You know, it started with my mother. I remember being a little girl and I came home talking about Rosa Parks and my mother was like, sit down. And I believe it was Polly Murray, or she's like, she sat on the bus before, like, you know, so she always forced us to go past what was being presented to us.
Right.
You know, she'd be like, oh, so this is what was said. Well, go find out. Or I say, Mom, how do you spell this word? Here's the dictionary, look it up. Right. You know, so my mother she never just gave us the easy answer. She made us sit down and intellectually research stuff. My mother was a researcher and she liked us to provide different ways to get to the end result. And so I'm grateful for that because I've been able to apply that in life. But it's, you know, as long as we have breath in our body, it's the continuous evolution of ourself and hopefully in the right direction.
Is the internet potentially be the new Black Wall Street? Because I heard you say everyone should have e-commerce or some form of social media. Can that be a vessel? Can that?
Yeah, well, the way I feel about social media, right, is that first it should be controlled. And secondly, I think you need to use it in a way that empowers you versus you being pulled into it. Because first, everything out here is not true.
Right.
You know, and we see that every day, rumors, you know, and it multiplies in a ridiculous way. Before it was the telephone, you know, and really small. When it comes to social media, it's a tricky thing for me. But I do feel like any type of business that you create, you have to be tech enabled. You have to. You do have to learn how to communicate with your potential consumers. And whatever you're presenting on social media, you need to understand that that's the perspective and the perception that people are getting about you.
Censorship. You have any stance on censorship? You said controlled, so
Well, my thing is that we are our walking billboard.
Sure.
So when you get into everything we think should not be said, you know, I don't believe in just responding emotionally. We have a 24-hour rule in my house. Let's talk about it. One person gets to talk about it. The other person needs to receive it, right? And you need to think about it.
Yeah.
And I think that I wish we had to practice that in this digital space that we live in, because people are just saying stuff. I mean, I was listening to some audio on something that happened on Clubhouse. You know, we're out here behaving very emotionally and reckless. It's ruining lives. It's ruining lives. It's inviting feds. It's inviting the police. It's inviting all of this nonsense. And so I do wish for us to understand our power of self, the control of our tongue, the control of our thoughts. It's a mindset. For me, everything's a mindset.
Absolutely.
How was I going to be a millionaire if I didn't believe I could be a millionaire? Right. Like, Monique, you're not a billionaire. Why you do that show? Because I'm going to be a billionaire. Like, come on, guys. You got to walk. You got to know what you're doing. You got to claim all of this. There's nothing more special between me and you. Like, we all have the same gift. Different skill sets, that's different. But we all have the gift of life from God.
Well, we got some quotable moments tonight. I tell you that.
You bring it out of me.
We gonna be trending. When I chop these videos up, you might be trending in about 10 days. DB, what's up, man? The greatest co-host in the world is in the building.
DB, what's up, DB?
Oh, I'm feeling good, Queen. I'm feeling good. I don't use that word loosely. You know, when I say Queen, I mean it. You know, what does Idlett mean?
Idlett, it's French. So my whole name, Monique Renee Idlett, it's French. My father was of French descent. He was French, Cherokee Indian, and Black.
Oh, man, I have some ties to the French culture. As a matter of fact, my favorite restaurant is French, called Jock in the Box. You ever heard of that?
I'm glad you got some comedy relief right now. Y'all got me up at 12:30 at night.
Yes, it did. We do what we can, man, to keep you entertained. Listen, I was